I'm in the car right now. Ooh, early morning recording here. I'm about to head out and get my day in. But I do want to go ahead and get an episode out the way. We've missed a few episodes, missed a few recordings here. So I just want to go over those so we can get to our next topics. I might have a full episode, I might not. There will definitely be commercial breaks. I'm on the road, I'm on the move. But I do want to, like I said, cover those topics we started to the other night. So it is your boy Dez, aka Karmicdez 85. You can find that on most social media platforms, I believe. I know I'm on Facebook, obviously Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So it's out there. And the whole crew is out there. So the episode that we did the other night, we started to get into talking about religion. And I know most people have feel a way about religion and, politics. Those are some people have a code. Those are two things they don't talk about with other people, in the public spaces, religion and politics, because they can get very heated. In regards to religion, I had to prove to my brother that, it definitely can get heated even between, blood siblings and stuff like that. And so with that situation, me and him were discussing, our interpretation of God based off of what we were reading and what I was reading at the time in the Bible. And long story short, it got heated in how we were interpreting God, describing him, describing attributes and whatnot. And it got to the point where I told him, fuck his God. Now, the way I look at it is, if you're content and sound and stable and strong in your belief and your faith, somebody saying fuck your God shouldn't be a problem to you, because, it's offensive, but they may be, it's like having confidence, that your God exists, for lack of better clarification. That can go for Buddhism, Islam, whatever. What your God does for you, as long as it makes you a better person, who can refute that, right? And that's what my whole point of that was. So he attacked me. And of course I defended myself, right? Mind you, we were brothers, or our brothers. And we were willing to go at it with each other based off of our belief. And after that, the day afterward, he sat down, I sat down with him, and we, kind of talked it out. We kind of and he's like, okay, I see what you did. It's like, yeah. He's like, I see what you're saying, that, he apologized. He said it should never gotten that far based off of our belief. And I explained to him that was the whole reason I took it that far, because he wasn't understanding what I was trying to get across. Like, you could believe what you want to believe, but the moment that you get upset and you want to force that on people and, take violence based off what you believe, I think you're taking your belief out of context. You're going too far with your belief. If you believe it, believe it. You don't need me. You don't need me or anybody else to validate your belief. But there, part and parcel of that is you also have to remain in reality. So, it's a line to walk, right? So we started to talk about, the other night it was me and Chris, Google it. And we started to talk about the string of atheists who are now making statements regarding Christianity and how it may actually have been good for, not only the world at large, but more specifically, American society. And from watching the video, one of the few of the things that they touched on were And it's like, principle stuff that it's the inner shit, right? So it's kind of like what I was saying a few episodes ago, I want to say, in regards to, bettering yourself, getting, taking stock of yourself, reviewing yourself and all that, getting, to the ideal. So yeah, when we were talking about the ideals. So one of the things they're alluding to is without that, like even if you take Jesus and, God, Jehovah out of the picture or whatever, there still should be an ideal that you aspire to make you, or to give you an option to be better than you were the day before or the minute before. And what they're noticing when they, these are psychologists, well, the three that they focused on, let's break that down here, were Sam Harris. He's a psychologist, I believe, if I remember correctly. He's also an atheist, and he's done, a number of speeches and talks as to his reasoning as to why he's an atheist, and breaks down a lot of, phenomena and interactions in our real life world and explains them without a God, right? The other one is Richard Dawkins. For anybody that knows Richard Dawkins out there, Richard Dawkins wrote the book, The God Delusion, which argued against grand design, which would be a God, and he put up an argument for natural selection. Now, that's not saying necessarily evolution as most people would depict it, but natural selection is a part of evolution. So with the natural selection versus grand design, let's break that down for a second. So the grand design theory the grand design thinking is a way of thinking that the universe and everything that we know of started with God, right? So for y'all science aficionados, those who are into sciences, cosmology and the like, there's the Big Bang. So before the Big Bang and this theogony, I believe it's called. No, that's the wrong word. Let's go with theosophical cosmology. Let's do that. Or teleological cosmology. Let's do that. So, according to teleological cosmology, before the Big Bang, there was a being, that being God. So God would essentially initiate the Big Bang. He would be the prime mover in some way, shape, or form, right? So that argument, going on from that argument, so after the Big Bang, then he created space and time. After he created space and time, he created, the planets, stars, Earth, Moon, so on, humans, so on, birds, so on and so forth, right? The 6 days. So the argument there is that God spent those 6 days, meticulously by hand, or whatever supernatural force he used, to create everything individually, piece by piece. Right? Now, if you pay attention to physics, that seems like a lot, considering energy scales and time scales and all that. How much energy would you need to be able to create the universe, bit by bit? And I think I have an answer, so we'll get to that later. So he did that, right? That's what the thinking is, that everything is created bit by bit. Your baby in the womb is created bit by God. So he's actively working in the world today. Now, with that phrase, some would say, well, how can you say that when we pray to him, we don't get our prayers answered? There are people suffering all across the world. People who can't eat, starving, right? According to that, way of thinking, he may just be busy. Which brings into question omnipotence. That he could be everywhere at once. Yeah, that would make sense, but we also live in a physical realm. So there's metaphysics that comes into play. So people drive ridiculously on these roads. So the next way of thinking is that everything is natural selection. So if we're talking about creation, right? So creation, God, of course, everything up to the Big Bang point would have been it. God would have started the universe and let it go its own course. So he didn't spend 6 days creating per se, according to this other way of thinking. So everything came together by natural selection or trial and error. So this eye is no good. Well, let's change this particle, or let's change this molecule, or change this structure. And now we have an eye, right? Natural selection, random processes. So the big separator, or big divide between those two, really, when you think about it, is more or less time scales. Again, time scales and energy scales for that matter. One time scale, seems almost instant, right? Some describe it as taking a leap up 100-foot wall with no tools and being able to do that. That's what they're saying the grand design theory or thinking would equate to. As opposed to natural selection would be like, hey, how do I get up this cliff? Are there any tools I can use? Is there any structures I can climb onto to get some leverage to get up this thing? So it happens incrementally. So that's the big debate there, right? So with that being said, we're going to carry that over into the next segment. I've got to go into the store. We got to pick up some stuff. So I'm going to give you guys an ad. I will be back as soon as I get from in the store. We'll pick up where we left off. Grand design, natural selection.